friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana and this video is going to be fun. It's actually the start of a series which we'll be calling Career Chats. Thank you, round of applause to Kazia over on Instagram. I can't remember if she I think she commented on one of my other YouTube videos with the whole change of direction, saying you should do career chats. Because her and I talk about our careers often. We have kind of a similar trajectory, I guess you would say, and we just chat about it often. And I feel like it's one of the perfect things to kind of start talking about more, because I did want to change, not necessarily the entire direction of my channel, but just to add, I keep saying it, add value back into people's lives. So, I can talk about sunscreen, I can talk about skincare and makeup all day long. I love that. That's, what I love. But there's so much more to each and every one of us, and I think the career chats is the perfect little avenue. So that is one direction that we're going. I've started putting out some new vlogs, which are more focused on fitness, health, wellness, that kind of thing. But if you guys have any other questions or any other series ideas, just let me know, because I'm super receptive and I got so excited for this one. So I'm just gonna go ahead, jump right in. This is number 1. Which means there will be others. And I thought I would kind of just do the background. You need a good background to the story. And then once we get a little bit further along, I can kind of fill you in on the here and now. And I will be getting ready today. So, it's the perfect thing. I love watching videos where people are getting ready and just talking to me, because it's I'm in my bedroom getting ready with my girlfriends, that kind of thing. So if you do like it, give it a big old subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking, and let's get into it. Okay, so I'm trying out the new Westman Atelier skin tint that retails for a whopping crazy $75. Yes, I know. This is why I test things, so you don't have to buy them. But I'm gonna try it. I don't know. We'll see how it works. Hand, sponge, whatever. I also think this shade is a little too light, but that's okay. We can darken it up. So, career chat. Where do I start? I guess let's start in college, because that's when you start thinking about your career. I guess if you really want to go back even further, I did kind of think when I just remember even being, I feel pretty young, kindergarten, thinking I'm going to be a teacher. That's what I want to be. And I did teach. I have taught for quite a number of years in different capacities, and learned pretty quickly that teachers are amazing, and I just don't know how they do it day in, day out for the rest of their lives. It's exhausting. So that's not where I ended up, but it's definitely kind of where I thought I was going to go at one point. But in college, I was an anthropology, not even remembering. That's really pretty. Now I'm going to try it with sponge. I was an anthropology major and archaeology minor. I actually loved archaeology more than the anthropology, but we didn't have a major. So I ended up just kind of, they intertwined, so it worked out. But I went, the summer between my junior and senior year, I went to Greece to study abroad and was on an actual archaeological dig on the island of Crete. And then I did more anthropology related stuff on the island of Paros. And then after that, since I was already over in Europe, I had gotten invited to go on an actual dig with my archaeology professor. So I went to Kazakhstan with her. That's where her research is. And we were up in the mountains, on a real dig. This wasn't course. This wasn't anything. It was just me and one other student from my college, and then 2 French students. And we were just helping her out on the dig, like real archaeologists. And I freaking loved it more than anything. After graduating from college, I took a year, worked at home, really didn't know what I was going to do, realized I didn't want to just go into the corporate workforce, was miserable, was still, so young that I wasn't ready for a 9-to-5 kind of thing. So my mom had been in the Peace Corps when she was young, and I always knew about it. And then I started thinking about it seriously. So I decided to go into the Peace Corps, which if you're not American, you might not know, but the Peace Corps is the service where Americans after college. I think you have to go to college. They apply, you get admitted. I don't think it's that hard. And then I don't know how it works these days, but you basically go to another part of the world and you do some kind of thing to help them what they need. So I ended up teaching English as a foreign language. In Ukraine, I think it's like economic development, community development, and TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language. Other parts of the world, they do like kind of cool things like medical literacy, like just depends on what they need. But that's what I did in Ukraine. And I did teach for 2 years at a secondary school. I taught grades 2 through 11. I remember teaching my second graders. It was insane. Like, they didn't know any English, and I was learning Russian, but I didn't know it well enough to like really communicate. And I tried to teach them how to read time, like on an analog clock. Like, wow, what was I thinking? It's very hard, the concept of actually telling time, not a digital clock, analog. Like, that's a concept that maybe you shouldn't learn it in second grade. Anyway, this is really, really pretty. There's more coverage to it than I thought there would be. Like, I didn't need as much as I thought. I feel like all the like clean beauty brands, they're usually like so minimal coverage, so that's what I was expecting. This is the Merit bronzer. So Peace Corps was the most amazing thing that I ever did. I will forever be like indebted to it, even though I guess giving my service, you know, you don't really get paid. I met some of my best friends of all time that are still my best friends, and just changed fundamentally like who I am as a person. And also, well, I guess in a good way, helped me realize that teaching, like I said before, it's the hardest profession. If you do not respect a teacher or your teachers, like, you need to go and teach and try to do it day in, day out for however long. And you'll realize really quickly that you don't want to do it, and God bless all teachers. So I came back, I moved out to Colorado. That's where my friends from the Peace Corps, we all kind of ended up. A few of them were from there. And kind of again was at a crossroads where I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I think I want to be in education, but I don't think I want to teach. So I ended up doing another service type thing, which is called AmeriCorps. And I was working in Denver public schools, but this time it's like in the administrative offices. And I really enjoyed that. It was a much better fit for me than teaching, and kind of led me to going to grad school. No, not kind of, it did. So yeah, it led me to grad school. I went to CU Boulder and I got my master's in educational policy and practice. And as much as I wish I would have like done something with that, I can't say that I like really put that master's to work. I think a lot of the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you get a master's just to have a master's on your resume. Anyone else feel me there? It's like, yes, I have a master's, but like, what am I using it? No. I studied a lot. I read everything from philosophy to like education, I guess philosophers, bell hooks, you know, all the greats, but I don't really think I ever put them into practice. This is very nice and pretty. I'm not gonna do anything on my neck. I just don't care right now because it's Sunday and I have nowhere to go, nowhere to be. Patrick Ta says he does the powder first and then the cream, but I always forget that. It's just like not what I do. So yeah, I had 2 years of grad school, and then afterward, again, a fork in the road where I was like, what do I want to do? And I ended up getting a job at an English language school. So it's a place where you go if you're learning English, but maybe like an adult and you need it for business, or you're coming to go study English, or not English, but you want to study at an American university. You go there to get your English up to speed. And I worked as an academic advisor and I really liked it, but the school, it went like this. When I was starting, they were hiring a lot of people because they just had like an influx of students. And then very quickly they went like that. And so they let go of quite a few people, and I was one of the people they let go of, which was my first, I wasn't fired. They were just downsizing, but it was my first experience like that and pretty traumatic. But at that time I had been in Colorado for 4 years, and I kind of was thinking like, I love Colorado, but it doesn't feel real, and it just didn't feel like the East Coast, I guess. Here on the East Coast, you just have, I don't know, business feels like different. Like people are very serious about work. In Colorado, anyway, so it kind of gave me the opportunity to move back home. So this was 2013, almost 10 years ago now. That's insane. So I moved back home, and I actually started interviewing with a place in DC and then at UNC here in North Carolina. I got a job offer at both this company in DC that was I believe it was a nonprofit, and then I got a job offer at UNC, which was, to be honest, and this, I'm going to touch upon this much later I'm going to touch upon this later in the series, but if you had told Dana of like 2005 Dana, back when I was in college, that you got a job at UNC in the psychology department and like you would be, basically I would be living my dream. That was my dream. I thought like working at UNC was the be all and end all. And so I took that job over the DC job, mainly because the DC job was going to be higher pay, but DC is much more expensive. And I would be living probably like in a 5-bedroom apartment with other people, or like the smallest studio, like very far from where I actually worked. And so I kind of decided, I think it's time to go home. I had been gone for, at that point, 6 or 7 years, and not that I was missing home, but it felt right. My brother and my mom all lived here, and it just felt right. But so I did choose to come home, and I ended up not loving the job at UNC. I think I actually got promoted pretty quickly to start a internship program, and that part was fun. But my director, or the head of the department, was a micromanager, and I learned pretty quickly what I hated, which was micromanagers, and I just could not stand that. And then I was moving to the city of Raleigh, so I ended up getting a job at NC State, which is in Raleigh. So it kind of worked out that like I was going to be moving there. I didn't want to commute. I got a job at NC State. I didn't like my director. So I switched from UNC to NC State. Worked there for 5 years. I'm doing a really abbreviated history, obviously. But I worked there for 5 years, and I really kind of stalled in my career. That job was, if I wanted to just like coast along my entire life, I would have just stayed there because I didn't have to do anything. And I just, they can't like really fire people in the state office or state jobs. So it was super cushy, but not great pay. So it's not like it was that good. But it was kind of at the point when I was there that I started thinking like, what am I doing? Like day in, day out, am I getting anything from this? Am I progressing myself? Like, what am I doing? Like, if I had to tell somebody what I did for the past 5 years at NC State, would it be anything? Like, and in the end, I was like, I feel like I don't have anything to say. Like, I didn't do much. So I started looking into kind of moving into the tech sector. This looks so different. These two shades. So this one here is like a light transition shade, and then this one is what I put on the lash line, but it looks so different down here. Anyway, I started looking into tech, thinking like it's much more fast paced. It's just going to be like, I'm going to learn so much more. I'm going to really kind of exercise my skills and my intelligence more. And I applied and I just wasn't getting anywhere. I think I got like a few interviews. One worked out, and then I actually got the job, but the company then went on a hiring freeze. And so I never got the job. But it kind of gave me like the idea, like this is what I think I want to do. I think I want to go into tech, but it just wasn't working out. And then my husband, he was my boyfriend at the time. We moved to a different town, Durham. So I was like Chapel Hill, Raleigh, Durham. So I decided I was going to like start applying to jobs at Duke University, which is one of the other major universities. So I got a job at Duke, and it was kind of just like more of the same. I realized pretty quickly, like I learned the job so quickly because I had already been doing that in other jobs at other universities. So the transition was always so easy. And I knew pretty soon, I was like, I love the people I work with. My team was amazing. My boss was amazing, but it just wasn't challenging. Like I felt like I could do it with my eyes closed. And I don't know, you guys let me know. Like, I think it's like the Gemini in me where I'm like, if I'm not challenged and not being pushed, I get bored so easily, and I don't want to be bored. Like, I don't know. I feel like so many people would be so happy to have that and just be fine, like kind of being there, but I'm always looking to like grow and learn more. So I worked there for 2 years during pretty much the entire pandemic, and really enjoyed basically not having a lot of work and being able to do all my side hustles like YouTube or my business. But I finally realized at the end of 2021 that I think it's time. Like, I think it's time to go into tech for real. I ended up applying to a job at a company based out of San Francisco, but they had an office in Raleigh. It was still remote when I got hired, but like I could go into the office if I wanted to. And I worked there, let's see, from November 2021 until June, June of 2022. So not very long, like 8 months. Not because of the company, not because of the people, but because of the job. I was in customer service. I did not like that at all. I was okay at it. I wouldn't say it was great. It was hard, like stressful, and you were like the low man on the totem pole in terms of pay. So I was like, this is not the job for me. I'm going to use this job, nothing against the company or the people, but I'm going to take it and use it as a stepping stone because I know I do want to be in tech and I just wanted to be doing something different. So I did that. I put in my time. I learned. I used it. It sounds so bad because whenever you say the word use, like I use someone or it has this negative connotation. And while I think you could say, maybe like my employer would say that I use them, I don't know. I think that's what I want to get into with these chats. I think when you stop feeling beholden to a company or corporations or whatever, and you're like, you know what, this is my life. You don't own me. I am going to try to make as much money if that's your goal. I'm not trying to make as much money as possible, but like I want to be able to live comfortably. When you stop kind of like thinking of them as like you owe them, like no, they owe you. Like you don't have to work for them. Once I realized that, I was kind of like, okay, this is fine. Like I am not using them. I am using it as a stepping stone. And somehow that little small difference really made it click in my head. So I started looking for jobs pretty early on, like January. I'd been there for a few months and realized it's not where I wanted to be, not what I wanted to be doing. And I interviewed at a few places and it either just didn't work out on their end or my end. It just, I am going all out on this Sunday. Look at this makeup. This is what happens when I just have more time on my hands. I go kind of glam. So in the end, I ended up finding the company that I'm at now and just got this wonderful feeling from pretty much everyone, from the recruiter to the team that I would be working with. And the benefits were like out of this world. I ended up getting the job. I ended up getting a 66% salary increase. The extra benefits like health insurance, we have a monthly stipend that we can use for like workout classes or home office supplies. I can't even think. There are so many things that it was kind of like a no-brainer. And I would be working as an associate project manager, which is like the low end of the project manager kind of like scale, but I was totally happy with because while I had done project management in the higher ed field, it's very different in tech, especially when you're using like agile framework, and it's very different when you're in the tech sector. You're using agile framework, you're using all these different kind of methodologies. So I wanted to start kind of lower, but I was still going to be making so much more. So I found like this is a win-win. By the way, I think I'm done. I didn't really put any concealer on, but I do want to powder just a little. This is working out timing wise. Normally I feel like I am not done speaking and I'm done with my makeup. But anyway, the job it was like a dream. Like everything about it. It's in the financial sector, which is very, very different than what I'm used to. So it's definitely challenging for me in some ways because I just don't speak like financial lingo. But it's also something that I needed to learn. Like for a long time I thought like this is one area of my career that I don't know as well. So that's kind of where I am now. I think I'm going to end this video at this point. I will list all, you know what? I just need a little bit more blush. I need the RMS one that has a little bit of a glow to it. It's okay if I have too much blush, if I have too much eyeshadow, we're just having fun here. Yeah, so the job is challenging in a lot of ways, especially just the like financial aspect, the sector of it. But I've been there almost 2 months, that's it. I'm like, ooh, it feels like longer, but I've been loving it. Just like absolutely loving it. Being challenged every day. Like some days that's hard, but other days it's so rewarding. And I'm going to talk more about the various, like, I think the last few years of my life, like moving from one sector to another sector, because I think that's kind of an area of conversation that we probably others could benefit from. And then I'm also going to get into kind of like the tech world of it all. So I have a lot of ideas for future videos in this series, but if you're interested, if you have any questions, please let me know like your journey, what you're experiencing. And this was just the lead up. I feel like I talked a mile a minute. There's so much to say, and I'm gonna end it here because I'm tired of talking. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.